The Devil of Chicago, inside H. Holmes' murder castle. Chicago, 1893. The city was alive. Streetcars rattled down muddy roads, jazz drifted out of bars, and thousands of people poured into town for the World's Fair. Folks came from everywhere, dreamers, workers, tourists, hustlers, all chasing opportunity in the fastest-growing city in America. But while Chicago was showing off its bright lights to the world, a monster was hiding in plain sight, and his name was Dr. H. Holmes. At first glance, Holmes looked like the kind of guy you'd trust instantly. Smooth talker, sharp dresser, charming smile. Women thought he was handsome. Men thought he was smart. He spoke soft, polite, real professional-like. Dude had the whole successful gentleman act locked down. But behind that smile, pure evil. Holmes bought a giant building on the south side of Chicago. To the public, it looked like a normal hotel mixed with shops and apartments. But locals started noticing weird stuff. Holmes constantly hired construction workers, then fired him before they could finish. Nobody ever saw the full blueprint. Rooms got rebuilt over and over. It was almost like he didn't want anyone understanding the place. People later called it the Murder Castle. And man, that name fit perfectly. Inside the building were secret hallways, hidden staircases, trapdoors, soundproof rooms, and doors that locked from the outside. Some rooms had gas lines connected straight into them. Holmes could literally stand in his office and control gas flowing into a bedroom while somebody was trapped inside. Imagine that. A guest checks into a hotel room thinking they're safe, and the walls themselves become the weapon. Some rooms had no windows. Some hallways led nowhere. One staircase suddenly dropped into darkness. There was even a giant vault where victims could be locked alive. Down in the basement, that's where the real nightmare waited. Police later found acid vats, surgical tables, lime pits, and cremation equipment. Holmes was believed to sell skeletons to medical schools after stripping bodies clean. The guy turned murder into a business. Cold-blooded. Most of Holmes' victims were women. Many were young, traveling alone, looking for jobs or a fresh start in Chicago. Holmes would flirt with them, promise marriage, offer work, or tell them they could stay in his hotel cheap. Then suddenly, they'd disappear. No goodbye, no letters home, nothing. Back then, America was changing fast. Records were messy. People moved constantly. If somebody vanished, it could take months before anyone noticed. Holmes knew that, and he used it. One woman named Julia Connor worked in Holmes' building. Before long, Holmes started having an affair with her. Julia reportedly told friends she was planning to marry him. But right before Christmas in 1891, she and her little daughter vanished. Holmes calmly told people they moved away. Nobody questioned it. Another woman, Emmeline Sigrand, came to Chicago for work. Smart, educated, ambitious. Holmes charmed her too, told her they'd get married. Friends later said she seemed excited about her future. Then she disappeared off the face of the earth. Over and over, the same pattern happened. Charm, trust, disappearance. By 1894, Holmes wasn't just killing people anymore. He was running scams too. Insurance fraud, fake business deals, stolen property. Dude was basically a professional con artist with zero conscience. But eventually, his luck ran out. Holmes got arrested in Boston for an insurance fraud scheme involving the murder of his business partner, Benjamin Pitzel. During the investigation, detectives started connecting dots from Chicago. And once police entered Holmes' building, everything changed. The deeper investigators searched, the darker it got. They discovered hidden chambers, burned human remains, bloody tools, bones, women's clothing, personal belongings from missing victims. Newspapers went absolutely crazy. America had never seen anything like this before. Headlines called Holmes a monster, a vampire, a human devil. Crowds gathered outside the castle just to stare at it. Reporters fought each other for details. Every day brought another horrifying discovery. And Holmes, the man barely showed emotion. That's what creeped people out the most. Even during questioning, he stayed calm, relaxed, almost amused. He lied constantly, changed stories nonstop, and acted like the whole thing was just a game. At one point, Holmes confessed to 27 murders. Some people believe the real number was much higher. Way higher. To this day, nobody knows exactly how many victims he had. Some estimates say over 200 people may have died connected to the murder castle. In 1896, H. Holmes was sentenced to death. On the morning of his execution, reporters expected fear or panic. But Holmes walked calmly to the gallows. No tears, no breakdown, nothing. Right before the trapdoor opened beneath him, the so-called Devil of Chicago reportedly stayed cool to the very end. Then suddenly, it was over. America's first famous serial killer was dead. But the legend of the murder castle never disappeared. Even now, more than a century later, people still talk about the hidden rooms, the secret hallways, and the charming doctor who fooled an entire city while turning murder into an industry. H. Holmes proved something terrifying. Sometimes the scariest monsters don't hide in shadows. Sometimes they smile right in your face.